Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm Gabrielle and I'm a French content creator. I have my own business, and in today's video we're going to do something a little bit different from my usual videos. In my usual videos I like to share with you my days, a few productivity tips, how I organize myself, my life, but also I talk about mental health quite a bit. I'm very honest and open about struggling from mental health issues. It started with anxiety and panic attacks, and now I'm starting to realize that I also suffer from depression. So after a very bad one in September, I decided to start seeing a therapist, and I think it's been, I want to say 2 or 3 months now. And I already feel like I've learned so much from it. Of course, I know it's not, unfortunately, something that is available for everyone because it's so expensive. But if it's something that you're thinking about, if you can afford it, I would say go for it. It's definitely hard to do, I'm not gonna lie, of course it is. But honestly, it helps so much, and there's a lot of good that comes from having a specialist explain things to you and help you shift the way that you see things so that you can work on your mindset and work on your thought patterns. And it's really helpful, I would say. If it's not possible for you, I'm really sorry. I really wish it were. So it's not the first time that I go to therapy. It's actually the third time. I went first, I would say it was 2015, because my anxiety and panic attacks were out of control. And that was the first time. It was a pretty short time because it was very close to the end of the university year. And the year after that, I was in my year abroad in Birmingham, in the UK. And the year after that, I decided to go back to therapy again at the beginning of, I would say January. Because again, my anxiety was very bad. I was not sleeping and I knew that I needed some help. So this first time around, it wasn't that new for me. The only thing changing was that it was the first time that I would go to a kind of private therapist. The first 2 times it was the therapist from the university kind of medical team. So I was not paying, which was amazing. And it was just different in that it was privately owned. I've learned so much from it already. As I said, it's only been like 2 or 3 months, and every session I feel like either I'm learning something new or I'm really strengthening the new way that I'm thinking, and different approaches. Now even in my everyday life, from what I've learned already from therapy, I'm able to kind of shift the way that I'm thinking. So I thought today I would share with you, I think I have like 5 big topics that I've learned and that I've been trying to apply to my daily life, because it's one thing to learn something during like your hour session of therapy, but it's another thing to try to apply it to your life and how you think and how you react, and it's work. I'm gonna start with the first thing that I feel like I really needed to hear at the time and now to learn. It's that your feelings are valid. And I had a hard time kind of really believing that. You know, for example, when the pandemic started, and everyone was not in the same boat but in the same storm, you could see everyone on YouTube kind of how they were going about it and what they were doing, and everybody started to be super creative, and they were painting and they were learning a language and they were taking so many Instagram photos, they were doing even more YouTube videos, they were doing so much, and I was not feeling good. My anxiety was really bad. We were already dealing with something in our personal life. It was just so much, and I was like, why am I not feeling better like they are? Why am I not doing as much as they are? I really couldn't understand and couldn't comprehend why I was in that state when other people were not. And first of all, I should have known that having anxiety, that was just already a situation to deal with, but also on top of that, adding in a pandemic, of course you have to struggle. Just that as an example. But in every situation, every time I was feeling something and I was like, maybe I should not feel that, my therapist was like, no, it's okay. You feel whatever you feel. It's okay. Like, it's valid. You have the right to feel however it is that you're feeling. You do not have to think things and process things the same way. We're all unique. We're all wired in our own unique way. And so however it is that I'm feeling, it's fine. And I should not always try to change it. I should try to change it if I can, if it's for a beneficial purpose for me, but sometimes it's just okay to not be okay. And as she mentioned, there's no linear way to approach your mood and how you're feeling. It's not like one day you're going to be happy and fulfilled and it's gonna stay like that. It's not. It's just like changing. It's a roller coaster. The only thing that you can do is to learn how to manage when you're not feeling good. And as you mentioned, sometimes it's productive to just take care of yourself. And it's just like, you do not have to be doing things all the time. Productivity means also taking care of yourself. The second thing that I've learned is that you can only manage yourself. You can only deal with your emotions, your reactions, your mood, your feelings, but not everyone else's or anyone else's. And it's really, being a very big control freak, it's really been something that I've struggled to really deal with and let go of, because I'm always like in situations, I'm always trying to make sure that everyone is okay. And in those moments, that's when I'm not okay. And my therapist really helped me to be like, in those situations, the focus has to be on you, because that's what matters first. If you are okay, you can help people be okay. If you're not okay, that's not going to happen. And so sometimes the best thing for you to do is just to say, I'm not going to take part in this situation because it's not good for me. I'm gonna take a step back. And maybe by doing that, it will help the situation instead of worsening it, because sometimes that's what happens. And by letting go of trying to control everything around me, and especially people around me, it really helps me to feel calmer, because I'm like, my focus right now is for me to be okay. And trust me, it has not been easy, because I feel like it's very selfish to think that way. But as you mentioned, we can only control ourselves. You cannot control everyone around you. So might as well take care of yourself, because sometimes that's the best way to help other people. And you know, like the saying, you can only help others if you help yourself first, and you can only take care of others if you take care of yourself first. That's really true, and it's been a real learning curve. I'm still trying to work on that, but every time I try to keep that in mind when something happens, I'm like, you can only control yourself. So do that as best as you can. The third thing really goes hand in hand with the second one, which is that when something happens, when an event happens, you can only take care of you and not control the situation. And that big example was for me the start of the pandemic. I had so many plans for that year. I had so many things that I wanted to do, and the pandemic happened, and I was like, oh, okay, so I can't do anything about it, because I'm not a scientist, I am not a politician, I am not a president. There's nothing that I can do. So what am I gonna do? And I kind of started to freak out. And even though I started seeing her in September, when it was a little bit better before the second wave, she really helps me to see that in this situation especially, the only thing again that I can do is work on how I am dealing with the situation on my level. And that is wear a mask, wash my hands, do my best so that the situation can improve, but that's it on my level. The other thing that I can control is how I react to it and what I'm doing in my life, so that when this situation ends, I will be able to do whatever it is that I want to do. And just to put back the focus on my power and not my power over something that I don't have control over. And same goes with, I don't know, a flight canceled, or you getting sick before going on a trip, or having to cancel something for another reason and you're like, oh my god, that is so annoying. You know, the only thing that you can do is be like, okay, that's how it's going, there's nothing that I can do about it, so I'm just gonna do whatever it is that I can for me to make me feel better. And so if the flight is canceled, you're like, okay, so that means maybe a few hours of waiting for another flight, or if the flight is delayed, same goes. So I'm just going to read my book, or I'm going to listen to some music, or I'm going to watch a movie that I've downloaded on my iPad, and that's it. That's the only thing that you can do at that moment. And it goes for every situation that you don't have control over. Just control yourself and everything else will fall into place. The fourth thing was pretty recent for me to learn. I was talking to my therapist about something that I wanted to do, but I was like, yeah, but that's just not going to happen, it's going to fail. I don't see that happening that way. It's just because of this and this and this. And she stopped and she looked at me and she was like, do you have facts for that? Like, how are you deciding on it not working out? And I was like, just, I know it's going to happen like that. And she's like, yeah, but you have facts. Have you talked to some people about it? The people involved. Do you know exactly why that's going to fail? And I was like, no. And it's just like, I always do that. I go too many steps ahead of things that have happened in real life, and I just decided it's not going to happen because I know it's not going to be, and it's just self-sabotage. That's just how it is. I don't have facts. I haven't talked to the people involved, so I don't know how they're going to react or what they're going to do. All I can do is go step by step, and that's the best thing that I can do for me. And the last thing was kind of beautiful. Was I was telling her that I'm struggling so much with my mental health, that I feel like I'm failing all the time, and I have so much on my plate and I'm struggling to juggle everything. And I was just like, I'm just failing. And she stopped and she looked at me and she was like, but you're still here, you're still trying, you're still trying to make sure that you are doing your best. Maybe you should switch the word failure with the word fighter, because that's what you're doing. You're fighting. You're not dropping everything and just staying in bed all day, every day for years and years and years and not trying. You're still trying. You're doing something. And even when I'm in a depressive episode and I'm struggling to do everything, because honestly that's a struggle, I'm still trying and I'm still waking up. I'm still getting out of bed. Even if I'm doing things hours and hours later, I'm still doing that. I'm still trying. And even if I'm not doing anything physically, mentally I'm still trying. I'm still fighting it. If you're not giving up, if you're not just lying there and you're like, okay, that's just it, I'm just gonna lie there and do nothing, you're still fighting. So you're a fighter. You're not a failure. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I'm really sorry about the lights. It's messed. The weather is really messed up today. That's the 5 things that I think about a lot. There's probably going to be a second part if you'd like that. And if you have any questions or anything about therapy and stuff like that, I have another video that I will link down below, which is all about like my depression and the start of therapy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing okay. I hope, even if you're not okay, that you are nice to yourself, because you need it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.